Sound speeds. And if you work in any position in the world of television or film and you're used to earning a day rate as opposed to an hourly rate, then pay close attention because I'm going to go over a few things that you might not have considered before. Producers are used to getting a good deal and they will haggle everything down as low as they possibly can, including your rates. And the first thing they're going to do when they get you on the phone is probably tell you something along the lines of, geez, your rate is so much higher than I was expecting. That's not the going rate for your area. So what gives? You, or rather the person that worked before you in this area, probably did. Let me show you how. For starters, what is a guarantee? A guarantee is the minimum number of hours you are being paid to work provided you show up, or if you were canceled after a certain time the previous day. If, for example, you're like me and you get an 8-hour guarantee on your show, then right now it's 11 o'clock p.m. And if I were canceled for work tomorrow morning, then I would still get paid an 8-hour guarantee. Or if I show up for work tomorrow and they say the star of the show has a migraine, he's not going to be shooting at all today, go on home. Hey, I showed up for work. It's not my fault. I still get paid 8 hours. That's a guarantee at work. If you work in commercials or electronic news gathering, E&G, then you most likely are used to seeing a 10-hour guarantee. That's 8 hours at a regular rate and then 2 hours at time and a half. And so you would take your hourly rate and multiply it by 11. Here's why. You take your 2 hours of time and a half, and then you add to that 8 hours at regular pay, and that's how you come up with 11. So if your hourly rate, let's just say, is $50, and you multiply that by 11, you're going to be making $550 a day. That number is what you're going to be paid daily. That's your hourly rate times the multiplier that corresponds to your guarantee. A 12-hour guarantee looks like this: 8 hours at a regular rate and then 4 hours at time and a half. So that's 1.5 times 4 equals plus 8, 14. So the multiplier for a 12-hour day is going to be 14. Here's how the math works. For simplicity in our calculations, we're going to give you a day rate of $770. Now, if you were to divide that by 10, wait a minute, it's by 11, isn't it? Because it's 8 hours at a regular rate times 2 hours at time and a half. So basically that is a multiplier of 11. And that gives you an hourly rate of $70. Now, what a producer is most likely going to say is, instead of a 10-hour guarantee, we're planning on shooting a 10-hour guarantee every single day, a 10-hour day, maybe even less. But if we go over a little bit every now and then, which we might end up doing maybe a couple of times, could you make it easy on us and just giving us that for a 12-hour guarantee? If you say yes, then instead of 770 divided by 11, it's 770 divided by 14, and your hourly rate is now $55. Now, that yes you just said to a 12-hour guarantee as opposed to a 10-hour guarantee has cut your hourly rate by 15. Now, you look at that and you say, but I'm still earning the same amount per day. Here's the kicker. Accounting is not going to put your rate in there as $770 for the day. They're going to enter it in at an hourly rate and then perform their calculations accordingly. So if their hourly rate for you is $55, the next time they come to town and they're looking for a sound mixer or whatever position you're working in, they're going to say 55 times 11, 605 is the going rate in your area. So when you say my rate is 770 for 10, they're going to say, that is so much higher than the regular rates for your area. How can you justify that? How can you say that with a straight face? That's how. In accounting, they multiply it by 11 and then tell you that their standard rate for your area is 605, not 770, which is the actual going rate. So if you say a 12-hour guarantee, you're lowering your rate down there. Now, let's just say that they slip this one on by you and you just want the work and you say, fine, 605 is fine for 10. And they say, can you maybe go 12-hour guarantee on that? If you say no, they're probably going to call someone else and offer that to them. If they say, sure, I'll take that, and you do it again, suddenly your hourly rate is 43.21. Now, here's the really bad part about this. If you multiply that by 11, you see what your rate is now, 475 for 10? You have, in 2 yeses, lowered the rate in your area by Let's take this number and divide that by your original rate, your $7.70 for 12, and you find that that is 61.72 or 73% of the original rate, simply from 2 yeses. In 2 yeses, your rate has gone from $7.70 for 10 down to $4.75 for 10. Highway robbery. So then what can you do if a producer says, can you turn this 10-hour guarantee into a 12-hour? Well, you can say no. Or if you want, you can say, oh, I didn't realize you were looking for a 12-hour guarantee. Let me adjust this rate accordingly. Divide by 11, multiply by 14. Oh, okay, my 12-hour guarantee rate is $980. Now, I have known people who will say, when producers call up and ask their rates, they will say, my rates are $7.70 for 10 or $9.80 for 12. If a producer asks you, how do you justify that? You can very easily tell them, it's based on my hourly rate. My hourly rate is unchanged whether I get a 10 or a 12-hour guarantee. Plain and simple. Why do you need to take a huge pay cut just to make a producer happy? You could argue that I won't get the job if I don't. Okay. Well, you'll probably get another job that will actually pay your rate and not question it. But the thing is, if anyone in your market accepts that rate, it's going to pull down the rate for your market. You may be concerned that if you say no, they're going to go to someone else that will say yes. That's always a risk you take. But here's the thing. If there is solidarity and everyone in your market agrees that your rates are going to remain 10 hours, or send them this video and say, adjust it accordingly for 12 hours, producers have no choice but to pay it if they want to get a qualified sound mixer. Now, I have been called for jobs, been told my rate's too high, and then called again on the day where they are panicking because their sound mixer has not known what they're doing, and they've said, Alan, can you please come in and save the day? Sorry, dude, I'm on a show that's paying my rate. You get what you pay for. So if you want to avoid a race to the bottom, then remember that anytime you are going to do a 12-hour guarantee, you need to adjust your rate accordingly. That's sound advice. Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.